For a span of just 2 years, there existed a seasonal pop-up haunted house attraction, typically active during the month of October. Informally, it was dubbed Haunted Hill House, due to a makeshift sign resembling something plucked from a Party City store, strategically placed at the entrance by a grassy area designated as a parking space. The events that transpired during its final year of operation are indelibly etched in my memory, as it marked the time my friends and I decided to experience this eerie escapade. In the company of my companions, namely Matt, Michael and Eddie, we chose a Thursday evening for our visit, aligning with our college schedules that granted us the luxury of Fridays off, ensuring a more tranquil atmosphere compared to the weekend rush. Remarkably, there was virtually no queue at the ticket booth, and as we followed the directions to the entrance, we found only a brief line, with just a handful of individuals ahead of me. Little did we know, each person was being allowed entry one at a time, a chilling facet we had not anticipated, one that only intensified the suspense. Pushing Michael to the front, he ventured ahead, and I found myself positioned second to last, with Eddie trailing behind. Periodically, we received the beckoning to proceed further. When it was Matt's turn to venture in, a wave of apprehension began to wash over me. My haunted house experiences had been confined to my early childhood when I was accompanied by family, and the thought of this isolated entry had me feeling jittery. Finally, my turn arrived, and a woman cloaked in a bloodied costume welcomed me with a cold stare as she creaked the door open and instructed me to enter. As the door sealed behind me, I was plunged into a dimly lit edifice, sporadically illuminated by faint, flickering lights. My journey through the haunted attraction exposed me to a macabre collection of gruesome props, portraying mutilated corpses and other nightmarish spectacles. At irregular intervals, actors donned terrifying disguises, startling me with sudden jumps and eerie appearances from obscure corners and hidden crevices. While navigating a gloomy corridor dividing 2 chambers, an unexpected touch grazed my back, triggering a momentary scream before I swiftly pivoted to confront the source. In the obscurity, I discerned a looming figure ahead. Initially, I chuckled at the sight, but then an unforeseen twist ensued. Black environment. The hands that reached for me did so in a manner that deviated from the standard haunted house interaction. It wasn't playful, it was invasive. Reacting, I forcefully pushed the intruder away, firmly uttering, "Get off me, dude." I stood still, anticipating the actor's next move, expecting the continuation of the attraction. However, the ominous stillness persisted, and with time, it became evident that something was amiss. Acknowledging the unusual turn of events, I discreetly retrieved my phone, despite the admonition against using it during the experience. With a dimly lit flashlight, I uncovered that I was ensconced within a storage area, housing props and janitorial equipment. Nevertheless, my primary focus was not the surroundings, but the tall figure looming nearby. This individual didn't resemble an actor devoid of a costume and cloaked in all black attire, concealing half of their face with a dark mask. Startled, I inquired, "What are you doing, dude?" But the figure remained mute, engaging in peculiar, calculated gestures akin to someone playing a character. Scanning for the exit, I promptly made my departure. I used the phone's flashlight to retrace my steps along the dark hallway, leading back to the area from which I'd come. Encountering another actor who admonished me to extinguish my flashlight, I disclosed my unsettling experience, stating that I had been violated by an individual who may or may not have been affiliated with the attraction, expressing my desire to exit immediately. The actor, likely a teenager not much younger than me, abandoned their character role and directed me to continue forward, assuring that the conclusion was within reach. When I inquired about their supervisor, they indicated that I should return to the ticket booth as the manager's office was adjacent to it. I hastened through the remainder of the haunted house, hastily navigating the unsettling environment and signaling my urgency to depart. Minutes later, I emerged from the attraction, reuniting with my 3 friends who appeared perplexed about my delayed exit. Recounting my disconcerting encounter, we decided to approach the ticket booth to seek assistance from the manager. To our surprise, the employee on duty revealed that the manager was absent for the night but would return the following day. Relating my distressing experience, I requested a refund, which was promptly granted. Little did I know that a fellow college student had undergone a similarly traumatic incident the previous night, which ultimately led to the attraction's closure that month. Upon connecting with her on social media, it became apparent that our encounters bore striking resemblances, although her experience involved more physical aggression. Subsequently, she pressed charges against the attraction's owner for negligence, prompting the staff to assert that the assailant had no official affiliation with the establishment. While this may have been accurate, it remains perplexing that the attraction lacked adequate security measures to prevent such incidents. Consequently, I resolved to avoid haunted house attractions altogether. In Fort Worth, Texas, where I reside, a prominent haunted house attraction emerges annually, but I declined any further participation, as this unsettling experience left an indelible mark on my perception of such endeavors. In an attempt to confront my past and assuage my PTSD, I eventually reconsidered the idea of working at a local haunted house attraction during the COVID pandemic. My friend Marissa was already an employee and recommended me for apposition after I met with the owner. The attraction encompassed multiple sections featuring 3 haunted houses and a haunted corn maze. On my inaugural day at the job, I underwent character orientation, honing my acting skills under the supervision of an on-duty coordinator. For the evening, my role entailed portraying a damsel in distress, which required me to be tied to a pole and solicit aid from passing guests. It was imperative for all guests to understand that actors were not to be touched. Hence, they would refrain from untying me during my distress calls. I was somewhat surprised to discover that actual restraints were employed rather than mere pretense. Perturbed by logistical concerns such as bathroom breaks, I was assured that brief intermissions would be available between sessions, with an additional supervisor in close proximity to address any needs. Alone in my designated area, I was surrounded by eerie sound effects and ominous ambient sounds emanating from concealed speakers scattered throughout the cornfield maze. Subsequently, an air horn signaled the commencement of the attraction, instructing me to assume my character. Although I felt a blend of excitement and anxiety, I diligently enacted my role as the distressed maiden, frantically imploring passers-by for assistance, asserting that my captor would return soon to unbind me. Some guests engaged in the interactive experience, responding to my pleas and contributing to the dynamic. Due to the mandatory mask wearing imposed by COVID, I could only discern partial facial expressions, making it challenging to gauge reactions fully. Nevertheless, as time passed, I observed that there were intermittent lulls in guest traffic, resulting in protracted periods of isolation. During one such lull, I detected rustling in the surrounding crops, contemplating whether it might be another staff member deviating from the prescribed path. I rotated to face the source of the disturbance, revealing 2 men who had ventured off the designated route and were approaching the pole to which I was bound. These men bore a striking resemblance to the individuals I had encountered during my earlier haunting experience. Disquieted by their unauthorized presence, I momentarily abandoned my character to caution them against straying from the path. Their response was a disconcerting laugh concealed beneath their masks, further unsettling me. As they initiated a conversation in an unfamiliar language, possibly Russian, one of them redirected their path away from me, but in a direction contrary to the intended guest route. He stood as though keeping watch. The other individual, however, commenced unwarranted physical contact, sending me into a frenzy of panic. My desperate cries of distress and pleas for help resonated throughout the maze. Swiftly, a supervisor arrived on the scene to assess the situation while the 2 men fled. With their swift intervention, I was liberated from my restraints and escorted. This horrifying incident not only marked the end of my employment, but also evoked a deeper, more unsettling turn of events. During my drive home, I became increasingly aware of a white car tailing me. To ensure my safety, I embarked on a series of unpredictable turns and diversions. The persistence of the white car in following my every move became undeniable. Instinctively, I sought refuge at the nearest police precinct, where the white car finally discontinued its pursuit. With caution, I resumed my journey, confirming that I was no longer under surveillance. The trauma of that experience remained etched in my memory, leaving an indelible impact on my perception of haunted house attractions. My decision to avoid such venues and refrain from engaging in substances beyond moderate alcohol served as a testament to the lasting effects of those harrowing encounters.